Is Zilliqa about to have a 35% move up to 22 cent? Let's get into it. So Chris, this is an interesting one. It feels like quite a while since we've actually done any decent Zilliqa analysis. So today we are going to jump into the charts. We're going to have a look at the ZIL token on the daily, the 4-hourly and the hourly chart. We're going to talk everything Zilliqa and see exactly what is going on here with the Zilliqa price. Are we potentially on the cusp of a 35% move to the upside? We'll see what the data is telling us inside the charts. Chris, is there anything else you'd like to kind of leave with the guys before we get on with this video?
No, let's just get straight into it, Nick.
Fantastic. And as always, guys, if you do find this video useful and informative, do go ahead and hit that like button. We both really do appreciate it. And of course, if you want to know more about those hidden gems and learn a little bit more about new cryptocurrencies and even make money, do consider subscribing to the channel. You will be basically kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. It is free. You'll stay well informed, so why not? Right, with that said, let's jump over to the charts and see exactly what's going on here with Zilliqa.
Let's do it.
Right, so here we are with Zilliqa to the USDT. This is the daily chart, and we're using Binance as our data source for this piece of analysis. Now, you'll be a little bit overwhelmed by potentially all the things you're seeing on the chart right now. We do have a Fibonacci retracement zone on here. We also have our 3 moving averages, the 50 moving average, the 100 and the 200 moving average. We also have a horizontal line here, which represents a major area of resistance. And we also have 2 upward trends, which is kind of forming a bit of a, I want to call it a parallel channel, but it's not exactly completely parallel. That's why I've used trend lines in this scenario. But there's 2 upward trends, an upper band and a lower band. And ultimately, we're trading between these 2 points. And there is a good, interesting move to the upside coming. So as we get into it, let's acknowledge some of the fantastic moves that have happened in the past. If I go ahead and grab hold of our price range, Chris, we can see when we had our low point on this Fibonacci, which was the 25th of November, through to the high point, which was over here. We're actually over here on the 27th of December. We've actually seen some pretty sweet moves. If I go ahead and actually just chart this up for you, we've seen a high of 833% since November, which is a pretty astonishing thing. So it's done phenomenally well so far, but it still has a lot of room in the tank. So let's get into this piece of analysis. So as I said before, right, we have a Fibonacci retracement. We have this from the low level of the 24th of November. We have that high point which forms this Fibonacci retracement tool. And that comes in at the 27th of December. From here, we have had the consolidation. We actually used the 50 moving average for quite some time here, and we're using it as an area of support moving up through those Fibonacci levels. We're obviously consolidating quite nicely on that 50% area as well, and the 50 moving average brought us up to the 702 before recently breaking right out and taking out that first price point. That first price point for reference was the 14.8 cent area, and since then we actually have broken a little bit higher but consolidated down on that area as a backtest, confirming that the 14.8 is a good area of support. Whilst all of that was going on, there was a clear upward trend forming. We have this upward trend on this upper band here, and that started over on the 27th of January. We obviously hit that band again over here on the 13th of February, and followed again twice with the 12th of March and most recently the 18th of March. Since then, we have actually come back down and consolidated on that high point of our price target of 14.8 cent and actually bounced off this lower band area here. So we bounced most recently off the 25th of March, but also down here at this low point, which was the 23rd of February. So we have this interesting line moving to the upside. Now, obviously, we can adjust this and actually bring it up here if we want more touch points, but I want to keep it as neat as I can on those wicks. So it's in that kind of zone. Now, what's really interesting about this, Chris, is ultimately we're really close to that lower band, which means we're going to be potentially moving up to the top band real soon. And that does show us or represent to us a 35% move. So that could be as short as maybe a 2 or 3 day move and then a consolidation, or it could be something that takes a little bit longer, such as a week or so. But we'll have to be really paying attention to see what goes on. Now, if I just get this date range, what we're going to do is have a look at how long did it take us to move from this low band down here to that high point there. So if we take it from here, for example, it was a total of 4 days. If we take that again and have a look at maybe this low point down here, if I just pull this out a little bit. Okay, so if we take it from down here over to there, that was a total of 16 days. So it could be anywhere between that kind of short period, 4 days, 7 days, or even up to that 16-day period. As we always say on this channel, it's actually really difficult to get the timing right. But one thing's for certain, whilst we're down low on this band area here, we have a lot of room to the upside with very little opportunity to really come back down. Now we have slightly deviated from that 50 moving average, so I'm a little bit concerned about that because that was an area of support moving up through the Fibonacci levels. So if there is a breakout down from our upward channel here, then we have got a support line of that 50 moving average just hovering below. So we won't fall too far if that were the case. And usually that would only happen if there's a big kind of macro event such as Bitcoin crashing hard and pulling the rest of the market with it. But nonetheless, right now things are looking okay. And if we go ahead and take a look at the volumes are okay as well. They're reasonably low, which means there's plenty of opportunity to increase that volume and grow the price of the ZIL token. The RSI isn't in a bad spot either. It could be better, admittedly. It is about 55 on this RSI chart, which means there's potentially more room to the downside than there is the upside. So the upward swing is going to be limited. And that's okay because we are only really looking at a 35% move. So yeah, we don't need to really push it beyond that. With that being said, that 35% move does bring us into that 22.5 zone. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Let's go ahead, Chris, and actually take a look and see what the 4-hourly chart is showing us. Now, from here, that RSI is actually a little bit lower, not too much, but 53 rather than 55. The volumes, again, are really low, so there's not too much difference here between the daily and the 4-hourly. The main difference is really where those moving averages are. Currently, we're actually a bit below the 50 and the 100 moving average, and it's the 200 moving average that's actually the area of support, which we can see over here, for example. Now, what we can see is actually the 200 moving average is deviating away from our upward trend line. So there is potential for a breakdown of that trend line if it were a big macro event were to happen. And on this 4-hourly chart, we'll probably end up having to find support at that 200 moving average. But right now, things aren't too bad. We actually have resistance forming on the 100 moving average, and the 50 moving average actually seems to still be support, as we can see over here. And most recently over here. So things are interesting on this 4-hourly chart. They do not deviate too much from the daily chart, other than the fact that the averages are slightly different. But let's go ahead and take a look at that hourly view. Again, this gives us that most granular view of what's actually going on with these candles. And this actually is going to show us a little bit something different. The RSI is actually a little bit lower, which means there's more room to the upside than the downside at this point. In an ideal world, we would actually correct this RSI a little bit lower. Let's get it below 40 and things could really heat up nicely. But unfortunately, the daily chart is the most volatile in terms of the RSI. It will be bouncing around here quite a bit, whilst the daily and 4-hourly are a little bit more conservative. Now, with that being said, the volumes are a little bit all over the place as well here. We can see some spikes in volumes occasionally, but overall, the volume is incredibly low, specifically when we look at what's going on over here. But we don't need a huge amount of volume to really push the price up to that upper band of 35% move, up to that 22-cent area. So ultimately, if we can just get that RSI a little bit lower on this daily, a little bit lower on the 4-hourly, and a little bit lower on the daily, I think everything would be gearing up quite nicely for that move. So we're going to be watching it incredibly closely. And again, on this hourly chart, the 200 moving average is the key one that seems to be where we're finding support. So we're going to have to watch that and make sure that that is also confirmed during the course of next week. Now, or this week, I should say. Now, if we pull this back up to the daily, we can see this in a little bit more detail of what's actually going on. So obviously we took out that first price point, and it is the second price point that we're looking to achieve here now. So if I go ahead and actually put on my time range here, and we can see that actually that move could be all the way up there by 8 days. So hopefully by the end of the week, we'll have a pretty good solid move to that upside, 35% move that gets us to the 22.5 zone. And en route, we'll have to pass that major resistance at 19.7 cent. And ideally, we actually want to turn that into support. And if we can do that successfully, we should actually have a good chance at actually breaking out of this channel altogether and going after that third price target of 30 cent. So everything's looking really good, Chris, on the ZIL chart. I think that ultimately we have a few days of correcting still to do before we can actually attempt to have a successful launch to that 22.5 cent zone and complete that 35% move. Is there anything else, Chris, that you would like to leave the guys with today?
Just really excited to see how this all plays out for Zilliqa. I mean, it's an awesome project, and it's been interesting watching the likes of Harmony One sort of move up the rankings, and some juicy price discovery along with Anchor, and we haven't really seen that from ZIL. And for me, timing is everything. I do expect it to go, and I think we're getting to that point where we could start to see it move. I'd like to see more noise and a bit more information coming out from the team. But apart from that, Nick, it's all looking good.
Fantastic. So hopefully, guys, you did find this video useful. If you did, then please do go ahead and hit that like button. We both really do appreciate it. And of course, if you want to know more about those hidden gems that we talk about here, and even new cryptocurrencies and make money, do consider subscribing, because by subscribing, you're going to be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. It is free, you will stay informed, so why not? And with that said, we hope everyone has a fantastic day, and we'll catch you all in the next one.
Yeah, take care.